Welcome back, it's Nine, and today I have another big video for you guys. We are going to be talking about God of War Ragnarok. We're going to be talking about a plethora of possible additions in the Final Fantasy VII Remake universe, and we're going to be talking about the leaked multiplayer for Cyberpunk 2077. Before we get into that, if you haven't subscribed already, please hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell to get notified about all my upcoming videos, and hit the like button. It helps the channel a ton. Now let's get right into it, starting with this article that comes from gamingbible.co.uk titled Red Dead Redemption 2 Arthur actor may be working with God of War studio. So the voice of Arthur in Red Dead Redemption 2 could be collaborating with the developer of the God of War series based on this post to the actor's Instagram story. In spite of the numerous commendations for his work, Roger Clark hasn't been credited in another video game role for more than 2 years now, so keep that in mind as we go further into this article. So the actor had shared career opportunities within Rockstar Games to his own social media accounts and has praised Christopher Judge's performance as Kratos, as well as chatting to director Cory Barlog. Now, God of War is likely to have completed its recording of voice and motion capture at this point, but it's also important to remember that he hasn't been involved in any video games or projects since. So is it very possible that he has been working on God of War Ragnarok in the last 2 years or so? Now, of course, this is speculation based on some posts that he's made. He could just be friendly and trying to support studios that he cares about. But there's also the other side of the coin where this could very well be him talking about it because he is a part of it. Now, obviously, as I say, you know, this is pretty much a rumor. This isn't considered a fact at all. It's pretty much just going based off of an Instagram post that he made and us speculating on that. So this could mean nothing, but I just like to throw this out there that he is an incredible voice actor, and Atreus naturally has to grow up, and his father's got the most badass voice and deep voice, and I feel like to a degree you surely can't stick with the same voice actor if Atreus is older in Ragnarok, right? Like, I'm talking substantially older than he is at the point of God of War on PS4. So maybe, is it possible that the guy who's playing Arthur Morgan might be playing Atreus as an adult, or he could be playing another character as well? But it'd be so cool to see Kratos and Atreus and those two voice actors be working together. Like, I really liked Roger Clark's work in Red Dead Redemption 2. He did an incredible job. He wasn't well renowned before Red Dead Redemption 2, so it was even more incredible that he was able to perform at such a high level, being that was his biggest project that he had ever done. So maybe it's just a fan in me wanting to see him work with another voice actor that I think is incredible as well. But obviously this is speculation based on some information that we have. So do what you will with that information, but on to our next topic, and this is pretty massive. This is all about Square Enix, and this comes from Gematsu.com, titled Square Enix trademarks Ever Crisis, the First Soldier, and Shinra logo in Japan. So if you guys aren't familiar, Final Fantasy VII Remake made its debut in April of 2020 on the PS4. Huge game, well reviewed, a lot of fans loved it, and obviously we expected that they're going to do more entries in the series going forward. So Square Enix filed trademarks for Ever Crisis and the First Soldier on December 17th, 2020 in Japan, as well as the Shinra Electric Power Company logo on December 22nd. All three trademarks were just made public today. So all three trademarks seem to be related to Square Enix's Final Fantasy VII series, obviously, naturally, guys. Ever Crisis shares a similar name to the 2004 released mobile game Before Crisis, Final Fantasy VII, and 2007 released PSP game Crisis Core, Final Fantasy VII. The First Soldier may be a reference to Sephiroth, the main villain of Final Fantasy VII series, I guess spoiler alert, and the Shinra Electric Power Company is an organization in the world of Final Fantasy VII. This could be massive for all you Final Fantasy VII fans out there. You know, we've all talked about how we would like a Crisis Core remaster. We've talked about Before Crisis being more, available to people than just that fan-made version that they did. You know, there's a lot of content that could be made in the Final Fantasy VII universe, and this is one of the best ways to go about it. Whether you love the ending of 7 Remake or not, if you love the 7 universe, you're probably going to really enjoy more games in the series. If we're looking at something that's similar to Crisis Core or Before Crisis, I myself would absolutely love a Before Crisis and Crisis Core type of entry. Not sure on what scale they're going to do it. Is it going to be a PS4 title? What's going to happen in that regard? I guess we'll see. There's really no other details about this out there. This is all going to be speculation from here on out. So basically the only facts that we have is that these trademarks were made public today, and they're pretty massive. They're pretty massive trademarks. But I do think they're probably going to be related to some sort of video game, more than likely, as, like I said before, Crisis and Crisis Core were both games, so it makes sense. Very curious what the first soldier may be about. Is that a story about Sephiroth? If that is a story about Sephiroth, that would be badass. I really love the Sephiroth character. I'd love to dive deeper into his story and really get his perspective of things. Is this something that could happen? I don't know, right? Like, this is where the speculation begins, and it never really ends until we know the exact details of what these could possibly mean. But I am all for a game about Sephiroth. I am all for a Before Crisis, a Crisis Core type game. I love Zack. I'd love to have a game that's about him. But yeah, that's all I have to say about that. I'd love to hear what you guys think in the comments. But on to our next topic, and this is a massive one as well. We know we've been talking a lot about Cyberpunk. By the way, I completed the game. Enjoyed it, despite all the problems that there were. It's a good game, underneath it all. But Cyberpunk 2077 is going to get a multiplayer mode, and we're aware of that it's going to get a multiplayer mode. But when and what's the details of it, we're not so sure. But dataminers have found some information for us, and this is all within the code of the game. So this is not BS. It's actually legitimate information. And this comes from DSOgaming.com. And it's titled Plausible Cyberpunk 2077 Multiplayer Details Leaked by Dataminers. The game's executable file so far has 2 distinct multiplayer game modes. The first one is called Heists, whereas the second one is a simple deathmatch. The heist modes seem to function closer to standard single-player quests, along with dedicated functions with editor helper descriptions such as set heist state, set spawn point tag that will be used to spawn new players during the mission, spawn tag percentages. There's some more additional information here about it, but there's really not much to extrapolate from that or explain, as it's kind of just like character.cpo Muppet Assassin, right? Like, it's not really something we can go deeper into. Now, with that said, I think when they do decide to do a multiplayer mode and make it available to everybody, I think number one, the single player has got to be set. It's got to be fixed. Nothing else should come before the single player being done, right? Because if we don't make sure that the single player is where it needs to be, then the problem becomes, okay, are we just going to neglect the single player once the multiplayer takes off, and likely may do pretty well, considering it's sounding like it's going to be some sort of GTA style type game. So I don't know. I guess we'll see what happens. It's hard to know what to make of this exactly, because it is just a bunch of, code terms. I don't know what they could possibly mean. We could probably make some good guesses, but I'm not going to take up all your time discussing that. Now, that's all I have for you guys today. I would love to hear from you guys what you think about the God of War Ragnarok speculated rumor of, Arthur Morgan's actor, Roger Clark, doing voice acting for God of War Ragnarok. Who do you think he could possibly play if he is indeed a part of that project? And do you think it's true? What do you think of these new patents for the Final Fantasy universe? Ever Crisis, The First Soldier, Shinra Electric Company. These are all very, very big topics, and I would love to hear what you guys got to say about that. And lastly, how do you feel about the Cyberpunk 2077 multiplayer? Will you be taking part in that, and are you excited for it? Let me know in the comments. And as always, if you haven't subscribed already, please hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell to get notified about all my upcoming videos, and hit the like button. It helps the channel a ton. You can follow me on Twitter and Twitch. Links will be in the description, and share this video with a friend. I will talk to you all on the next one. Take care.